Hello Gendone, and welcome to your tutorial. I'm going to need to be caffeinated for this one because today's video is going to be a whopper. So for those of you who don't know, I started up a Patreon a couple of months ago, and one of the incentives to donating to my Patreon is personalized tutorials. So if you want to know more about that, feel free to check the link down below. Part of these tutorials are to make them very personal for the person who is receiving them, just so they feel like they're getting something bespoke, you know, tailor-made just for them. So for this one, it's going to be pertaining specifically to my friend's needs. And of course, she had the perfect reason to reach out to me. Jen is also a fantastic burlesque performer, so she's going to be part of an upcoming burlesque musical, and she wanted me to design her makeup, or at least put something out there to maybe glean some inspiration from. So that got me pretty excited. It sounded like this was going to be a really fun, vampy, spooky project, which is totally up my alley. And the parameters for this were quite wide. I didn't get a whole lot of direction from Jen. Here's exactly what was given to me. Sounds like I have a black and purple palette and spiders are part of my thing. And that's it. I, of course, have been trying to rack my brain as to how to make this A, beautiful, B, vampy, and C, a little spooky, and D, also relatively easy to pull off, because I know that I'm gonna be the person who does things a little bit extra. Maybe Jen doesn't want to do that, so I'm gonna try and keep this design relatively, maybe not simple, but achievable, because this could very easily just be a purple smoky eye and some deep contour and a black lip, but I kind of want to take it a little bit further into that sort of costumey performance world that will make it just like a little bit more exciting and just sort of like take it up a couple notches. In preparation for this video, I have been picking up things here and there. Today I paid a visit to my very favorite FX makeup store, and I picked up my very first Mehron Paradise paints. These are water activated paints which dry down. That is a metallic face paint. We're not going to paint our entire face today, hence why I went ahead and did my base, but we are going to incorporate this, I think, into a couple of the details. Without me rambling on for too much longer, let's just jump into the eye portion of this video. I think we're going to start from the most wearable elements. Let's zoom on in. Let's just get real up close and personal with my crusty lids. I think I finally figured out the culprit to the irritation and redness I was getting in my immediate eye area. And of course it was very glaringly obvious once I figured it out. And needless to say, I won't be using the Banana Bright under eye cream anymore. It's really too bad because it was not cheap. The weird thing is that it was working fine for me for like a couple months, and only recently has it been giving me trouble, so that's odd. So I'm on the hunt for a new eye cream that won't give me a giant swollen red rash every time I use it. So leave that in the comments below if you got any recommendations there. So I'm going to start by priming my eyelids. I use a MAC paint pot in the color Soft Ochre. Soft Ochre has a golden yellow tone to it that does a very good job of canceling out the blue and purple tones in my eyelids. It leaves you a nice sort of tacky blank canvas for you to blend eyeshadow on. For very pigmented, bright shades, it's always really good to have a good base. And I'm going to keep the eyeshadow relatively simple, just so that it's easy to do. You don't want it to be too intricate, because like the audience is also going to be, you know, at least a few feet away from you. So you're not looking for details in this kind of makeup. You're looking for something that is going to translate from far away. So I'm just going to do sort of your average run-of-the-mill smoky eye, but use lots of purple. So take a nice big fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to take a light purple eyeshadow to throw down first. And the only light purple shadow that I actually own is this one from the Modern Renaissance palette, which is Buon Fresco. And I just kind of like to use this as a base for more pigmented purples coming up. And I'm just going to start throwing that down above and into my crease area, and we're going to sort of bring it up and out this way. You want to be able to see this eyeshadow look from space. I love how Buon Fresco always kind of looks like nothing in the pan, but then when you put it on your lid, it's like this lavender, smoky, just stunning shade. But any light purple eyeshadow will do. I know Huda Beauty actually makes these little gemstone obsessions palette. They're usually not 9 different eyeshadows in the same color palette. Morphe also makes really affordable, brightly colored eyeshadow palettes. The James Charles palette is one of those, which are now sold at Sephora. They also have like just like a regular Brights palette. BH Cosmetics is a really affordable brand, and they have a couple of different brightly colored palettes. I know that the Take Me Back to Brazil palette by them is really popular. I always take my eyeshadows really far into, I think, what you'd call the orbital bone area up here, because it gives your eye a little bit more lift and definition once you start blending in the deeper shades in your crease. So now I'm going to take a darker jewel toned purple eyeshadow. This one is made by Sugarpill. I'm going to take a smaller fluffy brush and start blending that into my crease. I'm using tapping motions at first and then blending it out.
You never know what's around the next corner.
So with a shadow that's quite bright and pigmented, you really want to work slowly in sections, just so you don't get too much all at once and then you can't work backward from there. And you can create any eye shape you really want. You could, you know, keep it more round, closer into the eye area. You could wing it way out. I'm gonna do something sort of in between, kind of rounding it out here and then flicking it up out here. You can always go back in with the former brush and the lighter shade and blend out some of the edges, just so you're getting a good seamless blend. Now you take something that has a little bit more densely packed bristles. I'm actually going to pull out a darker purple, just slightly darker. This one's from the Sweet Peach palette and it's called Delectable. And I'm just going to make sure that the innermost part of this crease is the darkest part. And that's just adding that hint of depth to the shape. What I'm gonna do is lay down a little bit of shimmer just where we left space there on the lid. I'm gonna use this purple from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and what I usually do is I just go straight in with my finger. Start patting that onto the lid. I'm kind of just using this as a base, so it's okay if it's a little bit dark, but it is a good transition from the darkest matte shade. And then what you want to do is take a lighter purple shimmer. I always reach for my Moonchild Glow Kit in this situation because it's got this highlighter shade that's quite deep in tone, and I usually, as a fair skinned person, can't pull this off on my cheekbones, but I actually can use it quite easily as an eyeshadow, which is what I'm going to do right now. Just sort of coat the brush in the highlighter shade, then take a little bit of setting spray, coat the brush in the setting spray, and then start to pack that on in the innermost part of the eye. When layered on top of that other metallic purple, it's just gorgeous. You can go back into the dark purple metallic and pat again over the edges to create a smoother transition. I'm going to go back into Purple Horseshoe, and this time, instead of layering it on top of anything, I'm just going to pop it right in there. And without the other shadow as a base, it's just a beautiful light purple highlight. And of course pop that up here too, because why not? I usually like to take a smaller brush, go back into the bright purple and start packing that underneath the lower lash line to complete the look. I usually like to, with a dramatic look, go nice and big and smoky. Don't be afraid to go really low. Always make sure to finish the shape by connecting the top to the bottom, and then take the deepest shade that you used and go in even tighter along the lower lash line. And that way this whole eyeshadow look is connected all the way around. All right, let's finish this eye off with a nice thick wing. Nice thick wing is usually achieved the best by a nice sort of brush tip liquid liner. NYX Epic Ink is my favorite. Try and match the angle of the eyeshadow that you laid down. To complete this look, I usually like to give my smoky eyes a little black eyeliner in the waterline. You can even take your small brush again and really smoke out that liner. And because I just, you know, don't know when to stop, I did pick up a little special thing for this tutorial specifically. It is the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Punk Rock. And so what I'm going to do with this guy is not use it as a liner, but use it sort of right on the center of the lid, just for that extra pop of shine. And you can give that a little pat out with a fingy. And if it gets everywhere, that's fine, because glitter makes everything better. Now your eye is going to catch the light perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and just finish the other eye off camera, throw in some lashes, and then we can get to the rest of the face. Okay, the lashes are on for the most part. These are Miss Fury by Rouge and Rogue. They are my chunkiest, most dramatic lashes I have available. And a little tip, if you're doing a show and you need to get your makeup on a little bit more quickly than usual, it's always easier to apply a pair of lashes that, and this is a little gross, but it is infinitely easier to apply a pair of lashes that you've worn a few times. They've already formed to your eye a few times, so it's just really easy to pop them on really quick. As you can see, both eyes are complete. They're not perfect, but then again, we are painting for the back row, so no worries about getting up close and personal. So now we are going to move on to the rest of the face, which is going to get a little more out there. What I want to do is start contouring, and instead of using a natural contour, I'm actually going to take the purple eyeshadow that we used for our eyes and contour out my face with it. And I feel like this is going to elevate this look into a more avant-garde place. It'll also keep everything together in with the theme and not just be like a glam eye look. We're just gonna pop right into that purple shade and start carving out our face. Make sure you tap off the excess because this can get a little messy. And I'm just gonna stamp in at first with this angle brush where I would normally contour.
Always mysterious.
Making sure to be careful where I place the shadow because it could get really messy real quick. And then once you've sort of placed it where you want it, that's when you can start blending it upwards in circular motions. For a glam look, I never blend down into the contour of the face, just because that'll make your face look a little bit more sunken in. And I don't know if that's what you want with this look, or if you want to keep sort of a glamour element to it. You can take the excess onto the apple of the cheek. I'm also going to contour the underside as well. I kind of like how this purple eyeshadow kind of has a very bright pink undertone, so when you sheer it out, it kind of leaves you with this blush. And you can kind of go as minimal or as dramatic as you want with your contour. It's always easier to start small and build up as opposed to immediately put too much on and then have to try and fix it later. Most of the time you put a bunch of purple eyeshadow on your face, there is no turning back. So we're gonna take that sort of big eyeshadow blending brush again, dip back into Buon Fresco, which is the lightest purple shade we used. And just like the eyes, I just kind of want to blend out that top edge a teeny tiny bit. And if you ever find that this is getting a bit too aggressive, you can always take a big fluffy brush that you probably use to set your whole base with and just dust it over. That'll help you out a tiny bit to take that down. I'm gonna hold off on contouring the forehead for now because I kind of want to do something up there later. Now that that's done, we are just going to go a little bit insane with highlighter because it's theater and we can. I'm gonna take a highlighter brush, dip back into Purple Horseshoe, and this time we're gonna actually use it on the face. And with a dry brush, it's going to come off way less pigmented. I'm taking it right down onto the front of the cheek, kind of like blush, because we really want that to be visible from Saturn. Hit the chin, Cupid's bow. Definitely let's just go for it on the forehead here. And once you put on about 70 pounds of that, just get another one. This one has relatively no color to it, so I'm going to use that and hit the highest points of my face one more time. And that will really make those cheekbones pop. When it comes to theater, more is usually, for the most part, always more. For my nose, since my nose is so finicky, I'm gonna go in with a different highlighter. Just one that I know won't screw up my base. And then I think before I go any further, I'm going to put on the lip, just that we have this as a potentially finished look and you could stop there. So let's do that. I'm going to first take the black and then we're going to do a little bit of an ombre lip with the purple. One day I'll be able to afford lip injections and then I won't have to overline so much. And you can stop right here. This is a look. If you don't have 100 lipsticks like I do, then you don't need to do this, but I have another Fenty Stunna lip paint in the shade Undefeated, which is the perfect purple shade for this eye look, so I thought it would tie together really nicely. Against the black, it's kind of barely there. Okay, I'm gonna take it one step further and use this MAC liquid lipstick in the shade Recollection and use that on the very, very center. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. This is a look. You could leave it here. It would be good, but that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here to do is give myself a little bit of a challenge. And if you want to just keep going and take this to the next level, then let's do that. So I had this really great idea. I was just sort of kind of mulling this over in my head on how I could take this sort of vampy glam and turn it into something more character driven. And you said your character had something to do with spiders. And I asked myself, how am I going to bring a spider motif into this glam look without being too hokey? I've seen a lot of those spider web liners, but that really only translates when you're right up close in HD and you can kind of see all the detail work. A lot of that stuff on stage is going to get super lost. So I had to find a way to incorporate spider webs into a look that can be seen from the back row. What I kind of thought would be fun is to create a sort of forehead crown piece that looked like a spider web. So hopefully, if this all works out, we're going to turn our forehead into a glittery spiderweb tiara. In order to be safe, before we go into any sort of paint or liner, I'm going to sketch out very lightly with my eyebrow pencil. And this will give me a map to line it afterwards. This look is very symmetrical, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, place a dot right smack dab in the center, right above my arch, and then the other one sort of in between those two dots. Draw a little sketchy line right down to that point. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do your little spider web arches in between those dots and then up into the hairline. And then just continue those little arches from there. And it's not going to be perfect. I'm going to give myself that out that it's not going to be perfectly symmetrical, and I'm just not going to be mad about it. I think I want to start off using black to really give these some definition. I'm going to take my Mehron Paradise paint in black and a liner brush, something small like this. Dip it in some water, swirl it around in the paint, and here goes nothing. These smell like coconut. It's delightful. This is by no means perfect and it's definitely not symmetrical, but I really, really like where it's going. Here's where I'm a little nervous because I don't know how this is going to perform, but I think this is going to look amazing with metallic purple paint. I mean, like, what's not to love here? Part of me wants to paint inside the spaces, but at the same time, I feel like the contrast between the skin and the web is really good. I think I'm just going to retrace all the lines in purple, and just so that we can have a nice sort of contrast between skin and spider web. But before that, I'm just going to let that dry. I'm going to try and blend the hairline a little bit by taking a little bit of purple eyeshadow and tapping that in. I might end up just filling this whole thing in with purple shadow. To avoid smudging those lines, just make sure you're tapping on the color. Now what I'm gonna do is take the Mehron Paradise paint in Brilliant Violine and retrace all these lines just so that they pop real good. I think the hardest part about drawing lines is that it's easier to do it all in one fell swoop, but you just need to sort of let the weight of your hand keep the pressure even. And now just to give it that extra oomph, I'm going to take the heavy metal liner again and just dot in every single intersection of each line. And this might take a while because these guys need to be built up quite a lot, but I just want that little extra glimmer when you catch the light. You could use rhinestones for this instead. I don't have any. Plus I wanted to use this liner one more time because it is gorgeous. I really like the way this turned out. It's like so classic villain glam. I know I keep saying this and I'm starting to feel like Rowan Atkinson in Love Actually, but I think I'm just gonna do one more thing. I think I'm actually just gonna paint a little bit down the neck. Give myself a little bit of a painted collar. And then I think to kind of tie in a little bit more of the black, I'm going to go back into the black paint and just kind of give those edges a bit of depth. I'm gonna dry that brush off almost completely and actually drag this up.
Ooh, look at you. Wow.
What do you think?
Like a spider queen.
That's exactly what I was going for.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
You filming?
Yeah.
Hey people on the internet, I'm off screen taking my pants off. Halloween. 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 In April. Carry on.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll close the door.
Thank you.
Welcome. Bye.
Bye now. As I was saying, I am just about there. I am almost ready to finish this up, but there's one more surprise that I have left for you. I'm gonna go do that off camera and we'll be right back with the finished look. And that, my friends, is the final look. This was just a very good excuse to finally buy myself a pair of mini scleras. It's insane how much a pair of contacts will change your entire look. You definitely don't have to do that step, but they are effective. Jen, I hope that you found this helpful or inspiring in any sort of way, whether you do it all or just use elements of this tutorial. I hope that you can take some of this and use it. I know that this may be a bit too much, but I'm pretty confident that this is very easy to scale back and just do the bits of it that are more glamorous. I look like a cross between Howl, Maleficent, and a Betazoid. And I'm kind of really digging the Disney villain vibe, to be perfectly honest. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it for you. It really was fun to get just incredibly creative and just let my imagination run wild on this one. So thank you for letting me do this for you. It's been an absolute blast. Now, if any of you would like a personal tutorial like this one, all you have to do is support me on Patreon. The link is down below in the description box. If you want to support this channel in other ways, you can always like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, if you want more of me in your life. And if you want to know every time I upload a brand new thing, just hit the bell icon down below and you will be notified every time I upload a video. You can always follow me on other social media. My Instagram is @Madelaide, the same way it is spelled here, and my Twitter, which is is infrequently updated, I'll just be honest with you, is at Madsuds, which is MADDSUDZ. Alright, that is it from this Spider Queen. I'm gonna go photograph this and then probably turn in for the night. I spent pretty much the entire day since I woke up preparing for and doing this video. Jen, I truly hope you enjoyed this video, and also if you need to borrow any of the things that I used in this tutorial, just give me a text. And with that, I'm going to leave you, so please be kind and be generous to everyone you meet out there in the world today, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.